Hey writers, it's Mr. Marshall again. It's Stony Lane. I wanted to get back to you with your realistic fiction. So last time when we were together, we created this character Oliver, right? And we thought about all the different things that are true about Oliver. And so like it's nice to have a character, but in a fiction story, your character's got to be doing something, right? There's got to be action, and that's called plots. That's called plots. And plots means the things that happen. It's that there's a problem and the somehow the problem gets solved. Okay? But we can't make Oliver have a plot that doesn't sound like Oliver. So what we've got to do is we've got to think about what kind of trouble could Oliver have, right? Cuz stories are really the best when there's some sort of trouble. Okay? When there's some sort of trouble. And so what I want to do now is I want to think about all the stuff I know about Oliver and think, well, you know, what kind of trouble could he get into? So I could use this list of stuff that I wrote about Oliver, or I could think about things that Oliver wants or needs. Okay. And what kind of trouble could he have? Okay. So let's see. So I know that Oliver is afraid of the dark, right? So what kind of trouble could Oliver have? Trouble stories for Oliver. Trouble stories. So he could get locked out of his house at night. His parents go his parents go out to dinner and he had to go out and put out the garbage. And his dad was really mad. He's like, I told you to take the garbage out. It's Tuesday night. And so he's like, fine, I'll take it out. And just then his parents take off to go to dinner and Oliver gets locked out of the house in the dark. And so somehow Oliver has to like manage his fear, right? And try to get back in the house. And it's really that could be a good story. What else do I know about Oliver? Well, I know that Oliver is the skinniest kid on the football team. So what kind of trouble could he get into there? So maybe the coach tells him he's got to put on some weight and he has some trouble doing that. So he tries to eat a lot and it's the day of the weigh-in and he still doesn't weigh enough, so he puts on all these extra clothes and and yeah, like he stuffs his pockets, right? So it's like I'm gonna put that the day of the weigh-in, right? The day of the weigh-in for football. Okay, what could be one more thing? You know what's a really good problem that everyone has sometimes is they're late, right? It's like a race against time. And so and he runs fast. So it could be that Oliver has to get to football practice and it's like really early. It's like 7:30 in the morning and he oversleeps. And so now he's got to run. Okay, so he's late for football practice. And so now he's got to run. He's got to run across the neighborhood and get there. And a bunch of stuff will probably be in his way, right? So he might have the kind of trouble where he jumps over people's fences to take a shortcut, and stuff happens in those yards. Yeah, like in one there could be this really angry dog, and the dog starts chasing him. And he's like, legs don't fail me now. And he starts running. And he jumps over the next fence, and in the next fence there's a bunch of prickly bushes. Yeah, and he gets like caught in the prickly bushes, and all he's thinking about is how his coach said, if you're late you're off the team. And so yeah, but he's a fast runner, so he's really trying, but all this stuff gets in his way. Do you see what I'm doing? Do you see I'm thinking about what I know about Oliver and what he might want or what he might need? And then I try to think of trouble stories. What I could do now is I could just like do a quick draft of these in my notebook. I could just like write them down, and while I write them down, like that might turn into a story that I end up publishing. Okay, um, that's something that you can do to get plot for your character. Okay? So why don't you try that? Think about what you know about your character. Think about what your character might want or need and how they might have trouble getting that. And just do a quick draft, like a flash draft of like, how that story would go. All right? Try that out and I'll see you next time.